Bitcoin, the world's best-known virtual currency, has smashed through another record. Each Bitcoin is now worth around $11,000, and the speed at which it's risen has left many investors asking yet again whether it's an asset bubble that is about to pop. Now, at the start of this year, one Bitcoin was changing hands at less than $1,000 a piece. On Wednesday, it was trading at above $11,000 each for the first time before scaling back a little bit. Now, that is a rise of more than 1,000% over the year. By contrast, the benchmark US stock index, the S&P 500, has risen by a mere 17%. The Euronext 100 index of leading European shares is up 12%, and gold prices are up 12% over the same period as well. Now, on Wednesday, the US NASDAQ exchange said it plans to launch Bitcoin futures in the first half of next year. Earlier this month, you might remember CME Group said it would also be offering futures contracts for Bitcoin. But still, the big question remains, why has Bitcoin risen so high so quickly? And to help us answer that, I'm joined by Jeffrey Tucker, live in Atlanta, Georgia. He's the Director of Content at the Foundation for Economic Education. Jeffrey, welcome back to Money Talks. Now, the last time we had you on the show was November the 1st, and Bitcoin was trading at about $6,500. And you did say, to your credit, that it would possibly hit 10,000 pretty soon, and here we are. But the big question is, what has happened between then and now to push it so far? I mean, we had that announcement by CME Group already, but what's pushed it up to 10,000?
Well, I think it's the perception that it's just going to get ever more valuable. This is what you call a deflation in a way. Each unit buys ever more goods and services, and people are holding Bitcoin very hard right now, and investors are starting to get really interested in it. And, you know, Bitcoin is actually rather difficult to get, which in a sense is driving people's desire to get it even more. And with these kinds of returns, it just begins to play on itself. I agree with you that it seems like a bubble. I mean, 1,000% in 1 year, come on. And yet, nobody knows the right price of Bitcoin. It's a new technology. It's something new in the world. It's magnificent. Economists are discovering it. Banks are discovering it. Everybody's discovering it for the first time. This could be the right price.
Okay, well, let's not take my word for it, but let's listen to what Joseph Stiglitz, the Nobel Prize-winning economist, has to say. He says today Bitcoin is successful only because of its potential for circumvention and lack of oversight, and he says it should be outlawed. Is he wrong?
That's okay. You left me breathless. That is utterly absurd, in every way. The lack of circumvention, as he puts it, is just a feature of the technology. The reason it's catching on is because it radically reduces counterparty risk in any kind of financial monetary transactions. That's the reason. It's a new technology. It unites money and a payment system in a single thing. We've never had that before. It's a new kind of money. It's the Maserati compared to the Model T of national money. That's why it's rising. That's why people care about it. It has nothing to do with drug markets or whatever Stiglitz might think. Look, Stiglitz look, I love him. I respect him. He's an old man. He doesn't get it.
I'm going to quote you on all this in the years to come. You do realize, look, if Bitcoin crashes, who gets hurt the most? What is your typical Bitcoin owner? What is he or she like?
Well, okay, you want to talk about typical Bitcoin owners. In the old days, it was geeks and techies and people that believed in crypto future and that kind of stuff. Nowadays, yeah, you're starting to see the regular middle class get involved. You look at the rates of subscription to places like Coinbase, which make it relatively easy to get in, and they're going through the roof. So people are looking at those returns from the S&P at gold, and they're going, I can do better than this in Bitcoin markets. So yeah, everybody's clamoring. Listen, you cannot believe what my instant messaging and my email and every other form of contact looks like every day. I'm getting hundreds of messages for the first time. How do I get into these markets? It's like, you know, I just tell everybody, you know, you could have been reading me for the last 5 years and no one having to answer this question for you now. But now everybody suddenly cares, you know,
Right.
so I just tell them just Google it.
Okay, Jeffrey, let me pick up on that. Now, you say that organizations like Coinbase make it easier to get into the market, but what happens when this market turns? What happens when all these people want to get out of the market? Is there enough liquidity? Are there enough, is there enough liquidity? Are there enough people who might mop up the excess selling that might happen if there is a trigger?
Right. So this is a very interesting question you just asked, because in normal conventional stocks, if everybody's trying to sell, you know, you got a major problem. We don't have the same kind of problems in Bitcoin land, because in banking terms, Bitcoin is a 100% reserve. There's going to be delays, but it's not because the money's not there or because the coins aren't there. It's because the network is not able to sustain this level of volume. And you want to talk about problems in Bitcoin. It has nothing to do with the price. The real problem in Bitcoin right now is that it's trying to hold more transactions than it was ever suited to do. And that's what's going to drive innovation in the future. Part of me, I don't think Bitcoin as such can be used as some sort of final payment system for the world economy. It just can't. It's not scalable in that way. We are going to have to see the advent of new altcoins, new kinds of digital assets. Lightning networks are sometimes called, new innovations and wallet technologies, something to reduce the time of transaction and the cost. Right now, the cost is extremely high. When you and I first started talking about Bitcoin, it was cheap and easy to send and receive. That's no longer true.
Okay, we're going to have to leave it there. Jeffrey Tucker, the Foundation for Economic Education. Thank you ever so much, as always.